your quiz tomorrow, I want to just go through a few things if you want a few reminders to study. Here are some things that will be on your quiz, and you need to know how to do all of these. And you can look at that pink packet of all the study guide problems. That will help you as well. But here are the things you need to know how to do. You need to know how to evaluate expressions. You need to know how to do that and then complete a table like we did an example in class today. You need to know how to write phrases as expressions. You need to recognize the properties, know the difference between commutative and associative, and then simplify expressions, and then being able to use the distributive property, both to simplify expressions and for mental math when we do multiplying, how to split up numbers to make it easier to do in your head. So those are some things you need to know. And I will go through some examples if you want to just get a refresher on each one before the quiz to make sure that you are ready. Okay, the first thing you need to make sure to do is evaluate expressions. If you want to go ahead and try these three problems first and then, pause the video and come back and check, go right ahead. If you want to know how to do it and get a refresher, then stay right here with me. The first one is a plus 3. So up here it tells us what all our variables represent. So if a is 6, I'm going to put 6 in for a, and I have 6 plus 3, which I know is 9. 5b is the same as saying 5 times b. So b is 3, so I would have 5 times 3, and that is 15. A divided by c, so I would have 6 divided by 2, and my answer is 3. Just remember that evaluate is another word for solve, so to solve and find an answer for that expression. One we went over in class today, but just a refresher, is evaluating expressions using a table. So here's your expression right here, 3x minus 5. So we want to substitute whatever they tell us x is in this column. We want to substitute that in. So if I put 3 in for this x, I would have 3 times 3 minus 5. So 9 minus 5 is 4. If I put 6 in for x, I would have 3 times 6 minus 5. So 18 minus 5 is 13. If I put 10 in, I would have 3 times 10 minus 5. So I'd have 30 minus 5, which is 25. That's how you would solve the expressions and fill out a table all in the same problem. Okay, the next thing you want to make sure you remember how to do is writing expressions. Again, if you want to try these and then come back and check your answers, go right ahead. Otherwise, I will show you how to do it. When writing expressions, you want to look for keywords. So in here it says 9 less than a number m. Less than tells me we're going to subtract. We want to make sure when we're doing less than that it says we start with the letter m and then we have 9 less than that. So it'd be m minus 9. For the second one, the sum, that tells me we are going to add of 7 and 25. So I'm just writing the expression 7 plus 25. You are not finding the answer. All you do is write the expression. And then a number y divided by, well, that's a pretty easy one because it tells me we're going to divide y divided by 7. So you could do y over 7, or you could write y divided by 7. And then the last one, the product, that tells me we are going to multiply of a number y and 6. So you could either do y times 6, you could do 6y, you could do 6 times y. Okay, you're going to need to know the difference between the commutative and the associative property. Remember, commutative, we're going to switch the order of numbers if you're multiplying or adding. Associative switches the groups or the grouping of numbers when you're multiplying or adding. So in this first example, it says 4 plus 2 plus y equals 2 plus y plus 4. You can see that they switch the order of the numbers, so that would represent the commutative property. Over here, it was 3 plus 11 in parentheses plus 9, and over here, they did not change the order of the numbers. It went 3, 11, 9, 3, 11, 9, but they changed where they grouped numbers. So that tells us it is the associative property. The next topic you need to make sure you know how to do is simplify expressions. Again, if you want to pause the video and try these problems, go ahead and then just make sure you check your answers. But if I'm going to simplify this one, I'm adding all together. You can pretend these parentheses aren't even here. Or you could just think, well, instead, I'm going to group these two together and add them first. So I would have 4 plus 4 and 3 tenths plus 2 and 9 tenths. And I would get 7 and 2 tenths. And I have x left. So I have x plus 7 and 2/10. That would be my simplified expression. Over here, I'm multiplying them all. So I can combine, again, I can switch the order and I could do 3 times 7 times m. So I could do 3 times 7, which is 21 times m. You could write it like this, or 21 m. Now you could, once you're doing some simplifying with the distributive property. So here I'm multiplying and subtracting, multiplying, adding, and subtracting. That's where you would use the distributive property. Remember, draw your little arrows. So I have to do 5 times d first, so I'd have 5d. And then I have to do 5 times 9, which is 45. I notice that I am subtracting, so I must have a subtraction sign in there. So my simplified expression is 5d minus 45, not r, just 45. Down here, again, we're going to distribute the 3 through, so I have 3w, and I'm adding, so I'm going to add 3 times 6, which is 18. I will not distribute the 3 to the 5 because it is not in parentheses, so then I'm just left with minus 5. Now this is not completed yet because it's not simplified. I can combine 18 minus 5, so then I will have 3w plus 18 minus 5 is 13. So 3w plus 13 would be my simplified expression. Okay, you need to know how to do the distributive property in mental math. So if I'm going to do 5 times 59, that's hard to do in my head. So I'm going to split the 59 up, and I'm going to do 5 times, instead of 59, I'm going to do 50 plus 9. Then I'm going to distribute 5 times 50, which is 250, and 5 times 9, which is 45. Now I can easily add those together in my head and get 295. I'll use a different color here. 63 times 8. Again, I'm going to do 8 times instead of 63. I'm going to do 60 plus 3. Distribute my 8 through, and I get 8 times 60 is 480, plus 8 times 3, which is 24, and I would get a total of 504. And the last one, 3 times 93. Again, 3, and I'm going to do 90 plus 3. 3 times 90, 270, plus 3 times 3, which is 9, and I would get 279 for my total. That's how you would use the distributive property for mental math when you're finding these products.